this is going to be a quick description for the code for the SEPTA app. So before we get started, I'm just going to show what the endpoint is here. So we have two choosers. So we choose a station here, and then it will display a list of all the available routes to those two endpoints. We could also view the map that will show all of the trains. And then jumping right into here into our layout file, we have a relative layout that's going to hold a linear layout that will hold our two spinners that we're going to use to choose between all of the different stations. And then below that, we're going to have our list view that will display the list of available routes. And then we're going to have our web view that will hold the map and a button to use to display the map. So looking into our implementation here, in onCreate, after we set the content view, we're going to set up this cache object so that we don't have to go out to the server every time to get the list of stations because they're pretty much static. So if we've already done that, then stations will not be null, so we're going to assume that that's what's happened. So we'll run render stations. In render stations, we're going to create a spinner array that is going to take all of these stations and it's going to add it to the spinner array. And those are the stations that we got from the cache earlier. And then using those, we're going to create an array adapter using this simple spinner item. And then we're going to get the two spinners and set each of their adapters to that new array adapter. And then we're going to simply set up some on-click listeners for those. Looking into the on-click listeners, those are for when the selection of the spinner changes. So this on item selected will be called in that case. And so what we're going to do is spinner num should be 1 if it's the first spinner and 2 if it's the second spinner. So we're just going to keep track of those two as class level variables. And if they are not the same, so if they're not the same station, then we're going to try and render them onto the list. So looking into render list, we're going to set up this URL that's going to call to the next to arrive endpoint. And then we're going to run this asynchronous task, which is simply going to take a callback and a context, and it's going to call back with a JSON array in that callback object. And so if we look inside of the callback here, we're going to have set this train results to, which is a global variable, to the result of that asynchronous call. And then we're going to set up a list adapter, which is a custom class here that defines the structure of each list row here. And we're going to initialize that with the data that we just received and set the list view to use that adapter. And then we're also going to set a click listener so that when they click on it, it'll display more information about that route. And then next we have the displaying the map. So that will happen right here in onCreate. We're going to set a on-click listener for that button at the bottom. And when that's clicked, we're going to run this setup map function. And in setup map, we're first going to get the map view, which is going to be contained inside of a relative layout. Next, we have to we're going to get the GeoIP so that we know where the user is currently located, and that's going to be using Wonderground's GeoIP service. Once we have that, we're going to get the result as a JSON object from an asynchronous call. We're going to get the longitude and latitude, and then we're going to display the map by setting it to visible, and then we're going to get our web view. We're going to allow it to do allow it to do cross-domain calls, enable JavaScript, and then load a URL that's going to display our map view, which I will describe shortly in another video after this. And then, just enable JavaScript. And that's about it for this part of the implementation. Thank you for watching. Check out the next video that I'm going to post.